Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. I try and do a video on everything that kind of comes across the bench, that way we can cover a whole heap of different type of locks. This lock right here we've got is for a Holden Commodore, and they went from VP, which is I think 90, oh actually VN even had this type of ignition, and that was 92 or 91 all the way up until VE I think it is, which was 2012. I'm probably getting my dates somewhat not exactly right. There's a lot of Holden fans out there that really know their cars and their models, but it's generally between about 96 to, you could say, 2000 and I think 14 or 15 this type of ignition was used. And what I thought we'd do today is we'd build one. This is the type of key, if you can see it with this black horseshoe around there. It's unique compared to a lot of other cars. We have a lot of people watching in America, and if you were to reference this to a car you've got over there, this would be the Pontiac GTO, like the two-door model. I'm not sure if you have it in the four-door or the station wagon as we do, but anyway, this is what it is. Now this video I probably should have done about 10-15 years ago, because since then there's so many of these type of ignitions that have ignition problems, and I'll walk you through what you can do and how you can kind of fix it. What we'll do today is we're going to build one. This is one from Nice. We actually had General Holden ones, but unfortunately we ran out, so now we're only getting these ones for a little while, and these ones are sufficient to do the job. So I thought we'd go through and actually build it. A lot of people love their Holdens and they like to sort of have a crack at fixing it, repairing it themselves. So if you do have a key like this and you're having trouble starting it, first thing to do is to check if it's got two screws. You see how one screw is missing here? You actually need the correct screw, the right screw, to go through and to be on both sides. That actually makes contact, and this little dot, metal dot right here, also makes contact with the ring around the outside of the ignition. So I've seen intermittent problems where one screw is missing. So if that's what you're doing, put the other screw back in and then try again. The buttons often wear. You can get like little ones from eBay where you put them in and slide them in and replace them. They're a little bit dodgy. You're better off just going to go get another remote and getting it programmed in. Alright, so what we're going to do today is we're going to build an ignition. So if you go in on a nice hot day and you try and start your car and you're finding your car isn't working, first thing to do would be to swap the ignition out. If you call a locksmith, they're going to come along with a kit just like this. They're going to build you another one and slide it back in. So if you want to, if you're remote somewhere, or if that's what the problem is and you want to figure it out and solve it yourself, then I would say, yeah, buy yourself a kit and follow these instructions and you should be right. So if your ignition is playing up, first thing to do is grab some degreaser or WD-40, undo these two little screws like so, get yourself a set of vice grips, put the vice grips on, flood the ignition with a whole heap of, I like to do degreaser, and then go in and out, in and out, in and out about at least 20 times. After you've done 20 times, see if you can get it to turn. Don't apply forceful pressure, just apply normal pressure. And hopefully what you'll do is you'll move the discs around enough to unstick them to allow you to turn the ignition. Once you can turn the ignition, that's when you can start to remove it and rebuild it. To remove the ignition on one of these Commodores, you need to remove the plastic which is surrounded around the back of the steering wheel. So you got your steering wheel, you got this big chunk of plastic, which cowling, I think they call it, the cowling around the ignition. You need to remove that very carefully, and then once you get all that out of the way, you'll see all the steering column and all the wires. That's when you put your key and you turn it to the accessories position. You come along with a spike tool, push through the hole and slide out the ignition, and I'll show you where that spot is on the ignition so it'll make more sense. Once you've got the ignition out, now you're pretty much right to start building a new ignition. So since this one's on the bench, let's build it. Alright, where's a pair of scissors? Oh, no scissors. Alright, let's just go for a rip. Okay, let's lay out the parts. So for a lot of people when they look at this, they might be a little bit confronted about this type of ignition build. It's not too hard and it's not too bad. It takes a little bit of time and it's a little bit of fun for a lot of people. This is the point right here that you actually need to depress. So when the ignition is in this position, it will be from the underneath, or could be from the top. I can't remember, it's been too long since I've done it. Up the top or down the bottom, you look for a small hole and you push that. You won't be able to push that in until the ignition is in the accessories position. So that's not one, that's the second turn. Then this ignition will allow you to do it. One thing I'm not going to be doing, and I do recommend you do, is you put some proper lubricant on this. Proper lubricant is something like this one, synthetic grease. This stuff here is pretty good. I've used it on many cars for a long time, but don't go putting normal grease in there. That was one of the reasons why your car might be jammed up right now, is because when they originally built these and they came out from Holden or wherever, they used a type of grease which got very hot. It stopped all the discs eventually from working. Once a little bit of dirt from your key went in and out and collected with that grease, and it started to how do you say, harden. It basically just created gunk inside the lock, and that's why you put your key in, it didn't work. That's why the method of getting it unlocked is to try and flood it with WD-40 or flood it with some degreaser. Put the key in and out, you know, a couple of hundred times like that. Move all those discs around, and hopefully, as long as the springs and you know, you haven't been too forceful before that, you should be able to get the thing open that way. If not, you'll need to call a locksmith to actually drill it out. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, because that is where you can really get into some trouble. Okay, so these are the discs that come with it. Where's my little bowl? Do I have a little bowl? No. Okay. I'll have to just lay them out here. Now, they are numbered. Each little disc has a little tiny number on it. I'll have a little zoom in so you can see. Can we zoom in? No, we can't see. Alright, so that's number 3. Have a look at that. You can see it there, number 3, right there. Okay, so that's what we do to actually find out what disc we want. What you might want to do is lay out all your discs in order. Just start by putting them in a group. So if you need to move up or down, it's not such a big battle. You can kind of see what you're doing. So there's a couple of 5s. Just speeds things up again, or you could just keep digging out of the bunch like I do. Alright, so let's get to the first part. So what we need to do is use one of these little tiny micro springs and put it in the side here. Just make sure that's in focus. That's much better. Then we put in a disc. Any disc will do, and from there we look at where it's sitting, and we either go up or we go down. Okay, just pop them in there like that. Test the key. Now I can see that's hanging out just a little bit. Can you see that there? See how that's a little bit proud? That's wrong. You want it to be the same as the diameter of the rest of it. So if that's hanging out just a little bit, I'm going to drop it down to, I'm going to go to a number of a 4 or a 6, because that's a 5 at the moment. So we'll try a 4. Now if that protrudes even more on the other side, we know we've got to go to a 6. Okay, now I'm liking that. That looks perfect. Okay, so what we need to do is, whoop, it just jumped out. I could build this whole ignition, but basically it's going to take way too long, and I think you get the idea. I'm going to do the next one, and that's opposing, so we go on this side, the reverse side, and I'm just going to look at my key now and just make a quick guesstimate. Maybe that's a 2. Maybe that's a 2. I'm not going to build all of them. There's no need. Okay, definitely not a 2. Can you see that? Definitely not a 2. There. See how it's hanging out the bottom? We can try a 5. Why not? Now I'm actually using my hand to hold the discs as I pull them in and out, so that way they don't go flying. When you start getting up around the 10th disc, they could get a little bit more tricky to have parts all flying in and out. So try and hold each side as you do it. Okay, now I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, now let's go to this little side part right here. That's the other bag. So let's just lay those parts out here. Okay, now it's been upwards of 5 years since I've done one of these. So there's a little tiny spring here. Let's pop him in. Okay, and he just sits in there just like that. There's a little tiny triangle piece here, if you can see that. See that piece there? Alright. That goes in like that. Yes. I was getting confused then with other car ignitions where they have a ramp. Okay, so that goes in there like that, and as you pull the key out now, that will actually be able to be depressed even further in. Okay, so that's correct. Okay, actually we're not doing it really in order. I'm going to have to put my finger on it now to hold it in there so it doesn't go anywhere special. Okay, now this one here, this is this very close. We have a spring here which fits in here. That's the only size spring there. That one goes in there like so. And we have one more spring which goes on the back, and what are we missing here? We're missing that one. Okay, so we'll take that out. We'll slide this in. Okay. Whoop. There goes a spring. Now I've only built it with 2 of the discs, so That spring there came out. See if I can just pop him in. There is an order in which to build this. It's been so long, I can't remember the order. Okay, now I've put that pin in and you can see it's actually going to get locked in the back there, so it's not going to be able to move past that point. And I take that out and our little side bit should drop in. That was that triangle at the front. Okay, now that leaves this spring. This spring goes on the back, or normally does. Something along those lines. You'll see when you take out your other ignition gate, and then that's in. We've only got 2 discs in there. Then we have a little metal pin here. See this pin? We pop that in with the dome facing down, the hole facing up, and then we come along with one of these springs. Normally there was a special spring for it, but unfortunately I can't find it. It doesn't seem to be here, so I'm going to go with one of these ones. This is an aftermarket, so maybe they've changed the design some. There's a little plastic sort of funny triangle looking cover, and I'm going to pop that. Try again. I'm going to pop a spring in it, and I'm going to try and just slide it over the top. I'm not too sure what that part actually does. If somebody knows, leave it in the description. Then we need to slide this back so it's all lined up, and yeah, it's right, rightful home. And it doesn't want to slide too well. Okay, see if we move it out of the way, if it makes any difference. Okay, once you've got that, you've got to put this spring over the back of it, and this one here doesn't seem to fit too well. I don't know why, but just keep winding it on, winding it on. You don't want to enlarge it or change any diameters or shapes or anything. Okay, and that's where it'll be. This will go through into the switch, and this creates a little bit of pushing pressure. So when you take your key out, it'll push forward. Okay. Then you come. This brass pin, I've shot this across the workshop I think 3 times during this video, so don't do what I'm doing. Make sure you're facing a wall. When you press it in and give it a turn, it'll click in underneath there, and you should be pretty much ready almost to install this. That black plastic ring on some cars actually comes off. You use the one that's on the car. Alright, so you turn the key, it's working, and when it's in the right position with the ignition switch, it'll actually pop it up a little bit higher. Can we simulate that? There we go, just like that. You put your key in, click, turns, pull it out. Now there is this hole here which this little pin goes in, but from what I can see it really doesn't do much. I've always kind of put them in, but I'm finding it pretty hard to put it in on this particular aftermarket one. And when I look at it, the only time it does anything is when the key is turned past the ignition switch point, where it can't because of this. If it was to go past that, it would pretty much just, you know, be locked in the crank position or past the crank position. So if you look at the instructions there, so that's where it starts. That's your what is it? Just the lights. And then second one's accessories, where this retainer is now allowed to be pushed in, and the third one will be crank. And you're pretty much up to the hard shoulder there where that triangle is, so you can't go any further anyway. So whether or not you put that pin in, or if it's even needed, leave it down in the comments. I think you get away without it. Then you just put this plastic thing in so nothing goes in there like so, and that is now ready to slide in. This key gave me quite a lot of trouble because the actual discs need to ride on this lip right here, and if your key is worn out when your key goes in, instead of riding up and down like so on this lip, what can happen is they can actually go sideways. And if I can show it to you, instead of being at that height, they'll actually go on the side of the key and get stuck at a funny position. So if you are, like, you can do it right about there. Instead of being on the actual thing, it can be kinked up. So if you see any brass or wear like this wave right here, if it's down, you might actually just need to get another key cut to code. If you're seeing it kind of wearing along here, then yeah, it's definitely time for another key cut to code. And what that will mean is just that this right here should be a perfect right angle. It should be going straight up. It shouldn't be going off on an edge. That will allow your key to at least work properly if you've got a proper key. That could be half of your problem too. You might not even need to change ignition. If you're putting a key in and it's not turning, try a key cut back to code. If it's still not turning, you can rebuild a whole new ignition, get your one out, rebuild a new ignition, slide it in, and away you go. Alright, so that's the VT, VX, VP to VX ignition replacement. Once again, make sure you put your key remote back on there with the 2 screws and put all your cowling back on and the metal ring so that the contact can be made there, and you should be good to go. Leave comments down below. Thanks for watching.